just finished my workout and I'm gonna go over this whole thing right here. I don't think you can see it, but it's like 20-ish pages. Actually, much more than that. I'll just quickly put it on the floor and I'll show you like the habit trackers, just the notebooks I've made. And this is like 2-ish years worth of data. Right, so this is it right here. I'll flip it over. As you can see, let's put it back down. So this papers and 3 journals from what I found. I think there might be another one somewhere, but this is just what I found when I was just looking at my cupboard. So I'll actually break this down easier. Let me categorize this. In short, that is everything. Oops. Habit, workout, to do, which you don't need. I just add it into here. There we go. So I categorized it. Habit tracker, workout tracker, schedule, to-do list, which I didn't really use. I changed that and put everything into this notebook instead. So where do I even start? Let's start this so I can break it down. This was 2022, all the way back in 2022 when I was playing football, looking for a football team. Starting the business, I think, is when I roughly started it, the first one. Onboarding process, yeah. Yeah, so started reach first payment, that's when I got my first payment, I think. What was it? There. It's at 2022, October. 2021, this is. You can see it's a crazy process. Launched business, had to return some stuff, sparring for boxing, find a football team. That's when I was balancing football between boxing. I just got rid of football and stuck to boxing. Passed my driving test, finished the course, cleaned the room, the garden. That's when I had a chicken, cleaned the whole house. So a lot of stuff happened. For example, one of them was 5-finger shoes. Instead, I got Vivo shoes. So this is like actually one of my goals, you could say, when I couldn't really afford that at that time, 2022. They cost like £100. So I got Vivo instead. And you'll see like stuff like buy table, so all sorts of stuff, which I couldn't afford at the time. And then I just finally got it. Got a MacBook. Yeah. So obviously I couldn't do this. Same for this. Tons here, month by month. It's probably like 2 years, or it's probably like 20 papers, 20, 30 papers. But yeah, let's start here actually. I think this is when I first started. You can see the process. I'm hoping it's lighting is good. Should be good enough. Yeah, so I had barely any habits. So 6. Gratitude, simple, eat clean. I could just barely do that. That was when I eat junk food and stuff, sweets, chocolates. Now I'm literally 3 years into it without eating a single one. Yeah, 2022. I'd imagine this is 2022 as well. This, I had more tracking. No gaming, that's when I first started. Yeah. And then I completely got rid of it. I think maybe a month or 2 after that. Not sure. Deep work. I don't know what happened here. It looks like I got 0. So I must have done some shallow work, but not deep work. Then we jump to October. That's when where's my deep work? So you can see I could barely get any deep work back then. Keep in mind I had a stopwatch, like an actual stopwatch. So if I was to get distracted or if I was to do something, stopwatch would pause. So for some guys they'll probably have like 4-hour deep work on here, for example, and they're probably distracted and actually focusing deeply for 2 hours. So this was actually like, I made it proper strict when it came to timing. I had a stopwatch and everything. But either way, I still couldn't do a lot of deep work. I was mostly doing shallow work. So deep work is just when you're in that flow state. You just lose track of time pretty much and you get a lot done. Same as this. So I'll just quickly go over this so I can get to the habit. Then I start adding, highlighting it. So this is the top 3 priority for this month: business, sleep, and study. R stands for rest. I think that was when I was ill. That's 2024, March. I think I wrote the note here when I was slacking. I must have not tracked at all here. Then I got to there. And then that's 2024 April. So you can see I was doing decent at least compared to back there, which my progress is actually slow to be honest. So yeah, so 4 hours, 5 hours, roughly 4 or 5 hours of deep work from where was it? from nothing here and from like 2 hours here. So I doubled it, which is kind of shit to be honest. Yeah, like I said, my weight, that I just wrote that as like a little thing. March, I weighed 102 kilos. I might put the pictures of me, or I'll just make another video on that. I actually went up here, 105 kilos. So this is just the workout and what I did. There's not really much to go into it. So 105, went down from is that 2022 or 2021? I'm not sure if that's 21 or 2022, but either way, it's October 2022, so I'd imagine that's 21. Went down 73, 74, 85, 85, 87, and then 85. And I think when I'm like actually low body fat, I think my ideal range around 80 kilos, I'd say. So I went from really overweight to really underweight. I think around there. You can literally see my spine where I like slouched forward. And if I saw in the mirror, I've got pictures and stuff of the transformation. So really overweight to really underweight. And yeah, that's the process. From here, I went digitally, moved to Notion, which is actually a dumb idea. I don't think you want to do that. It's not the same when it came to physical. So I actually start back on the physical for March. You know, less screen time as well, I guess, just before you sleep, because you have to put the data tracking. And I also have this posted on my wall, so I can see it every day. And you can see here the reason I started adding this black whiteboard pen, so you can clearly see the days I missed, right? So it's right in your face when I'm sleeping, I can see it. And then that's the priority. Obviously, the green's a priority. You can see the tick, and the blacks are just the ones that I clearly missed. And I think the X is just not necessary for me to do, because like here, this is optional. Ideally, journal once a week, and yeah, that's the whole process. So yeah, now we got this. I'll just quickly go with this. Well, this here is pretty simple. Just my gratitude journal that I did. Shit, man, I can't there see. When was this? This was 2022. This affirmation, I think that I did. It was affirmation. I think I changed it later. So yeah, it was affirmation. This was pretty. Wasn't really necessary to be honest. I was just doing loads of things that I learned from YouTubers, but this didn't really work for me. Let me see if it was this one. So this is like one of the formats when I started adding the format to see habits, which is crazy. I was doing 15 habits and I was tracking literally everything, talking about the minutes, even as far as to what kind of workout I was doing, the sets and reps. That was way too much. So just actions for the day, this week's goal, quick little affirmation line, gratitude, start the day. So all full, that one, and I got one right now that I'm currently using that I got back into. Another issue with this is, for example, let's say on this day, I didn't really do the highest priority task to get the business, to move the business forward, you know, the most. Instead, I did the habits, right? 16, 10, 16. So I prioritized the habit just because I didn't want to ruin the streak. Instead of prioritizing, where's my camera? Yeah, instead of prioritizing this, which is my main, you know, goal that aligns with pushing me to my goal the fastest. Same as here in this day. If I go to here, I did do 13 or 18, so I somehow added more habits. I had no idea. I used the app to track it on my phone as well. And so I did do all the actions, same as here, except for this one, back up everything. And I still got 9. So yeah, but either way, the habits I got rid of was useless. I should probably show my new updated layout for the journaling or notebook, but yeah, anyways, that's what I got. So I do the week. Well, you get at the start of a new month, right? You get your monthly goal, and then you break it down to weekly goals, and then after that, you break it down to daily, which is this, right? Ignore the mess, by the way. I had to get all this stuff out my cupboard, which I don't know why it reversed. It was right at the bottom, so my room's a mess now. I just gotta clean this back up and put it back at the bottom, since I don't really need this stuff anyway. So it's just for data tracking and if I ever wanna look back at my stuff. The good thing that I might do in the future is just pay someone to back it up on, just upload it on Notion, and then on Notion it will track everything percentage wise and just everything, you know what I mean? So it tracks all the habits, everything I've done, the progress, and then I could, pin it down what was the reason I performed the best on this month and the reason I performed the worst on this month. And you could probably see a correlation between the habits, the time I slept, if I worked out, if I meditated, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not really a priority. I probably should do it now, but it's not a priority for me, and it doesn't really make much of a difference as of now. But because I think I got everything dialed down just through trial and error. So yeah, that's everything. So the video is probably longer than it needs to be. The whole progress and routine that made everything, nicely organized, and how slow my progress actually was. Just to, because my mind was all over the place. So trying to make progress and stuff took a while, much longer than I'd assume it would for the average person, or at least the person that's very interested in just improvement, self improvement, and stuff like that. As a side note, no disrespect for these, these YouTubers. They're actually good and provide a lot of value, some of them at least. But I could make courses much better than these guys can. My goal would pretty much be to wipe out all these guys. I'll probably waffle again, so I'll just cut probably a big part of this out when I edit it, and I'll just see how it is. Let me know if you want me to make a video on something specific.